We're live.
Thank you, Julie. Welcome to the June 18th, 2025 Planning Board Public Hearing. This hearing will come to order. The Lyman Planning Board is here in the public hearing to review the application of Justin Tharp, 592 Walker Road, map 3, lot 78-4, subdivision amendment / land swap. This is a public proceeding, and you will have the right to hear everything that is being said and looked at, all the exhibits offered. Please notify the board chair if you are having difficulty seeing or hearing the presentation. This hearing is being digitally recorded and broadcast on YouTube. All persons speaking will be asked to first state their name and address or affiliation. All questions or comments will be directed to and through the board chair. It is requested that you sign the sheet and to document your attendance at this hearing. Thank you for your cooperation. Mr. Tharp, could you come up and present? No, it's not Tharp, you're the butter.
Yep.
Come up and make your presentation to the public present.
Yes, sir. Get rid of the podium here.
Yes.
So the Tharps and I are abutting landowners. We're simply making an adjustment to the shape of a piece of property, swapping 1 1/4 acres for 1 1/4 acres, just to create a building envelope that's closer to the Walker Road to just make building costs more affordable, and frankly, just to make it make sense. That's pretty much the gist of it.
Does the public have any questions, comments, concerns, input from the neighbors, input from the public? Well, that was easy.
Do we get any correspondence by mail?
No public correspondence at all presented. Well, that being said, I will close the public hearing at 5:32.
Well, thank you.
Now I got another piece of paper to read. Welcome to the June 18th, 2025 Lyman Board Planning Board. This meeting will come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and look at all the exhibits that are being offered. If the board votes to go into executive session, the reason shall be stated. Please notify the board chair if you are having difficulty seeing or hearing. This meeting is being digitally recorded and broadcast on YouTube. In each instance, it is incumbent upon the applicant to demonstrate compliance with the provisions of the applicable ordinance or ordinances. After the board votes on the merits of each project, it will prepare a written opinion, which will be forwarded within 7 days. The board works from a prepared agenda, which will be considered this meeting into the following order. Number 1, Justin Tharp, 592 Walker Road, map 3, lot 78-4, subdivision amendment, land swap. Number 2, Ryan Dancause, hopefully I got that right, 1713, map 7, lot 964, commercial development, commercial building with a garage area for vehicles, or storage and office space. Number 3, Carlisle Brooks Estate, map 4, lot 22, final subdivision, stormwater received and final application not reviewed. Number 4, review bylaws. Number 5, set agenda for the next stated meeting, which will be on July 2nd, 2025. Review any minutes. Old Business Hopper Residential Subdivision, tax map 3, lot 87-3, and portion of tax map 3, lots 87-2, Old Kennebunk Road, 9 residential lot final subdivision packet. At this time, I invite you to join me in saluting the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Long may she wave. Okay. 5:35. Could I have a roll call, starting with my right?
Tim Brevard, Poor Farm Road. Bill Single, 8 Single Lane.
Kelly Demers, 10 Partridge Way.
Cecile Dupuy, 53 Chapel Shores Road.
Kevin Vare, 64 Bugging Pond Road.
All right, all members present, and we do have a quorum. Mr. Moore, am I correct?
Yeah, Morris, yep.
Morris, could you please come up and reiterate in this to the board this time instead of the public, your plans?
Yeah, so last time we met, we were looking at the revision of the subdivision for the Triple Creek Corporation. Again, we're just making a change in the shape of a lot to swap a 1 1/4 acre parcel between Justin and Page Stark and ourselves. But because it was in a previously recorded subdivision, it required your guys' review and approval. We were here for the public hearing this evening and then next steps in the process for you guys. So I would assume that's the remainder of that packet that we had started last time. We had gone through the first 20 questions, I believe, and there's still remaining 16 or so, if I'm not mistaken.
My big concern was, have you or your legal representative reviewed the, any potential CCs and Rs involved with the Cripple Creek subdivision?
So we discussed this last time as well and stated, we get checked registry of deeds. We've talked with the surveyor who did the original plan. We've spoken with you as you were part of the original signing of this plan and can find no recorded restrictions or deed notes or anything of that nature that would prohibit us from making.
Saying no further subdivision possible without going through hoops or
Exactly.
whatever.
I mean, we can't find any restrictions, period, so.
Yeah, it just has to be asked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else on the board have any questions? Okay, we had gone through the site plan checklist, went all the way through to number 20. There were the waivers presented that were requested?
Yeah, there was a written packet that we've gone through each line item, requesting the waivers that didn't pertain to the particular.
Such as the incineration device.
I may have another copy here. I can give you the-
Ah, there it is. Okay, there's all that, all the waivers. Number 10, existing contours.
We did the preliminary ones. The first time.
We did. Okay.
Any board members have any comments before we proceed into section 836B?
I don't think we have any. Let me see if there are any issues.
Anything, Bill? Can you think of anything, Tim?
No.
Kevin?
Um,
He's looking. We'll give him time.
Are we reviewing site plan standards or subdivision standards?
Would be subdivisions.
No, it'd be site plan, because subdivision already exists and was done and approved. All we're doing is looking for a modification.
It's an amendment to the subdivision. Didn't we go through, did we use the regular, the
That's a good question.
checklist? Did we use the
We use a standard site plan review.
standard one or the
Oh,
subdivision one?
yeah.
They submitted a site plan review.
Correct.
Yeah. So we did the site plan checklist, questions 1 through 20 last time.
Yeah, because going through a subdivision is, they're modifying an existing subdivision and not creating one. That subdivision has been in existence for 6-7 years.
10 years,
Mhm.
2016 it started.
Yeah.
But the subdivision is recorded in the registry of deeds, so you're just modifying, it's just an amendment to it because
Right, we're modifying
the
the
parcels
lot.
are gonna look different.
Yeah, we're modifying a lot within
Yeah.
that subdivision.
So I think that still would go through,
Well, I don't know, because this was the original part of the subdivision. He owned this one here. They're swapped, the Moores are given this piece to the Tharps, and the Tharps in exchange are given this piece. So we're not we're not changing the 4 lots, was it 4 lots or 5 lots?
There's 4.
4, we're not changing,
So it's still 4.
it's still 4. The owners are still the owners, they're not adding roads, they're not changing roads. The homeowners association, we're not doing any changes to that at all.
The layout of the parcels are going to be different now. I mean, the acreage may be the same.
Just the one.
One parcel will be different. Is the other property is not in the subdivision?
Correct, his
Right, it's
property is not.
behind it, right?
So
Right.
that would be covered by site plan.
Huh?
I think that would be covered by the site plan review.
Because the parcel that's in the subdivision is going to change. Right?
Yeah.
And actually, if it wasn't for that, would he have even had to come to the planning board?
If the Tharps parcel was not in Cripple Creek subdivision,
You
it would
wouldn't
be
even have to come
outside of
before
our
the planning
purview
board.
at
Right,
all. It would
right.
just be, they write up the legal modified legal description
Right.
and they run with it.
But this here, you have to, I mean, I think if the checklist for the subdivision is much more detailed and most items are not going to apply.
Right. That's kind
But
of
I think
figured
we
in.
still have to go through that.
I don't believe we need to, or
Well,
it,
you guys can do what you want.
I mean, we can take a vote on it and that way the onus is on the planning board if something comes up in the future.
Mhm. Because when it talks about, and the subdivision standards, talks about a modification, an amended subdivision layout needs to be recorded.
Right,
It needs to be
it's-
approved by the planning board and it needs to be recorded at the registry of deeds. I think I wrote down this section last week.
I'm thinking this is more tailored towards that one that is right on the split on the Arundel line on, what is it, Trout Brook Road? That they want to make some changes to the entire subdivision.
We did have a subdivision before where they were splitting. I think one of the lots in the subdivision was like 7 or 8 acres or something like that, and they were splitting. And we did have to go through the subdivision. Do you remember that?
I'm trying to remember that now.
Otherwise, it wouldn't have to come before the planning board.
I'm also thinking the one that split on Waterboro where the subdivision went defunct would be phase 2.
Hmm.
Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, with the fire
Right.
pond and everything. And the,
That was modifications to the entire subdivision.
well, that one, the subdivision was liquidated. There was a legal document
Phase
that
2 or 3
think-
of that, yes.
that dissolved the subdivision.
Right.
Yeah, because I think the lots were never developed or whatever.
They were developed, but the infrastructure was never completed because
Right,
one entity owned all of phase 2 or 3.
right. But this is just, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. I either just have to go, you have to come before the planning board. You are going to have to register the change in the,
Right, they're gonna have to put a new survey
Yeah.
in.
Right, so that survey that I provided you guys, I don't know.
Yeah,
It-
that'll
it
go
did
to the
depict
registry
that
of
on
deeds.
there, that would be
Right.
registered
Yeah.
with the registry of
Right.
deeds alone.
And that's ultimately what has to be done.
Right,
Right, and
And,
none,
and our permit that,
and none of the abutters have expressed positive or negative. There's been no input either
Mhm.
way. I think that if it was something that was gonna negatively affect them, they would be the first here raising their hands and going, I'm opposed to this.
right? See, plan revisions after approval.
What, 7 something?
7.7 on page 20 of the land development and subdivision standards.
Yes.
If the criteria is gonna be not applicable for the majority of it, why waste the time?
Right.
The site plan list covers more of it and more in depth of what we're gonna need. So I think it's more
All right.
applicable.
For the public, I will read off of the Lyman Planning Board Land Development and Subdivision Standards, Section 7.2, Plan Revisions After Approval. No changes, erasures, modifications, or revisions shall be made in a final plan after approval has been given by the planning board and endorsed in writing on the plan, unless the plan is first resubmitted and the planning board approves any modifications. In the event that a final plan is recorded without complying with this requirement, the same shall be considered null and void, and the planning board shall institute proceedings to have the plan stricken from the records of the municipal office and the registry of deeds. Here's my interpretation. Unless the plan is resubmitted, which it has, and the planning board approves the modifications, I think that is our authorization to say, you can do this. We're not changing, we're not adding streets, we're not changing streets, we are doing modifications. The plan has been submitted. They have went through the site plan review.
I agree.
I'll make a motion, I'll entertain a motion that the planning board under subdivision standards, subdivision, land development and subdivision standards, section 7.2, plans, revisions and approval, that the planning board has the authority under the verbiage, unless the plan is resubmitted and the planning board approves any modifications, that we have the authority to approve this modification based on this standard. That's motion. Tim motions.
I'll second that.
Bill seconds. Do we have any discussion that we have the authority to make this modification because the plan has been submitted and we are have reviewed the plan?
Are we voting because we're making are we voting whether we can approve it or not? That's not what we're voting on.
We are voting to state that the board has the authority under this section, this verbiage, to make this decision.
Right, and I understand that, and we already agreed on that. I thought we were voting on whether we go through the site plan checklist or the subdivision standards checklist.
This authority will grant us just to go through this checklist, the site plan review versus the subdivision checklist.
Because he's met the criteria for the subdivision.
He's not the criteria for subdivision modification. You're saying this is not a subdivision modification.
No, it is a subdivision, but he had to give us a new survey
Mhm.
showing what the difference is.
Yeah.
We got that.
And we're going to approve that.
Right.
So
Yeah, there's no
basically,
question.
we need to go finish with the site plan approval of the project.
Okay,
Yeah, unless the plan is first resubmitted, which it has been, and planning board approves the modification, which we're looking to do. We don't have a problem.
okay.
At this point, it is, do we proceed with just the continuance of the site plan review? Or do we stop and go on to the 9 pages of subdivision standards, which I think are irrelevant as the site plan, if the subdivision has been approved. There are no changes other than 2 lot lines.
Okay. I mean, go ahead. Yeah, but we're going to approve this, so it doesn't, we've already gone through half of the site plan
Yeah.
review. so-
All right.
So you got a motion?
We've got a motion and a second that per the standard that the planning board has the authority to make this change.
Say yes.
All in favor? All opposed? Any? 4 in favor, 1 opposed.
Okay.
Well, that's great. That's why we love discussion.
Just follow the ordinance, that's
Yes,
the rule.
exactly.
And
That way no one can say, oh, they just rubber stamp things. No, we don't. So we move on to the review standards? Or do we want to go to the subdivision? I'll say that we don't go.
Right here, site plan review, B1. That's where we should be.
That motion?
No, that's where we should be, period. Let's just do it.
All right. I'm going to drink of water. Section 8.3.6B1 will meet the definition of the use of the zoning district requirements and any other requirements set forth in the ordinance. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Tim seconds. Do we have any discussion? All in favor that meet criteria for, I'm just going to, from now on, everything's going to be under the assumption of 8.3.6.B, that they meet the criteria for number 1. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Number 2, will not have significant detrimental effect on the use and peaceful enjoyment of the abutters' properties as a result of noise, vibration, fumes, dust, odor, light, glare, traffic, or other cause. It's a residential dwelling, they're just moving 2 lot lines. I make a motion that the applicant meets number 2. Do we have a second? Tim seconds. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Number 3, will not have significant adverse effects on the adjacent or nearby property values.
So moved.
We got a motion. I'll second that. Do we have any discussion? Hearing, was it discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Number 4, will not create a hazard to pedestrians or vehicular traffic or significant traffic congestion. Residential property, residential area, residential road, no commercial traffic other than minimal. I'll make a motion that they meet the criteria for number 4.
Second.
I'll give Kevin a
All
second.
right, that's good.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Number 6, will not result in fire danger.
Hopefully not.
No, matter of fact, but when they go out and develop the land, they're gonna be cutting trees, clearing the land, and therefore creating fire barriers and buffers, so.
And I did note there was a public hydrant that's 200 yards from the driveway at that point, so it's very close by if
Yep.
needed. So
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second? Kevin seconds, do we have any discussion? Here, no discussion, all in favor, all opposed, unanimous. Number 6, will not result in flood hazard or floods, damage, drainage problems, ground or surface water contamination or soil erosion. You have intentionally made it so that you are not disturbing the back portion, which is part of Carlisle Brook. So I'll make a motion that they meet number 6.
You want a second?
Number 6.
Number 6. Sorry.
Second.
Cecile seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. She's trying to keep us on our toes. That's what we pay her the big
Well, I
bucks.
think you said 6 on 5,
You did.
which is why I.
Oh, will not result in fire oh, I mentioned on fire danger, the clutting of the trees in the, around the house. Number 7.
You just did 7.
No,
No. Joking.
I'm keeping you on your toes.
will not create a safety hazard because of inadequate access to the site or building or for emergency vehicles. I do believe that was the main purpose of doing this land swap, is to make it closer to the main street, easier for access.
So moved.
Got a motion? Do we have a second? Kevin seconds. Do we have any discussion? All in favor? All
Aye.
opposed? It is unanimous. Number 8. Has proposed exterior lighting which will not create hazards to motorists traveling on adjacent public streets and is adequate for safety of the occupants and others of the site and will not damage the value and diminish the usability of adjacent properties.
So,
Not applicable, I think.
well, I agree, but he complies.
We got a motion. Do we have a second? Kim seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous on number 8.
Yeah, you're on 9.
Am I on number 9 yet?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure Drew's on it.
You're on number 9 now.
Thank you. Makes provisions for buffers and on-site landscaping which provides adequate protection to neighboring properties from detrimental features of the development. The applicant shall provide a plan prepared by a registered landscape architect or other qualified professional approved by the planning board.
It's really not applicable.
Not applicable. So that's a not applicable motion. I'll second the not applicable motion. Do we have any any comments, questions, not applicable? Any, all in favor, not applicable?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, not applicable. Number 10, makes provisions for vehicular parking, loading, unloading, as well as vehicular and pedestrian circulation on the site and onto adjacent public streets, which will neither create hazards to safety nor impose significant burden on public facilities. Residential property, I'm sure you're gonna have a driveway big enough, sufficient enough for your parking needs and turnaround, and you're not gonna be backing up a 40-foot bus onto the road.
That'll all come under the building permit.
Exactly.
So technically, it's not applicable.
I'll second that motion. Do we have any discussion? It is not applicable. All in favor? All
Aye.
opposed? Not applicable. Number 11, makes adequate provisions for the disposal of wastewater and solid waste from the prevention of ground and surface water contamination. That will be your subsurface waste disposal system.
Not applicable.
Well, it would be conditional because that's how they'll get their
Come
permit.
Come under the building permit.
Right, so
Applicable.
it's not under our purview.
Which you have already anyways, but. that's
Yep.
fair.
Right.
So you provide a subsurface waste? Fair enough. They meet it. I'll motion.
I just made the motion.
I'll second your motion. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? It is unanimous. Number 12, makes adequate provisions for the control of erosion and sedimentation. Don't think you're doing much landscaping. You're not going to be having steep banks, putting rip wrapping, putting buffers on the brook or anything like that.
Yeah, the erosion control plan is part of the building permit as well, so that'll have to be approved by the town. so.
Yep.
He meets the requirements.
Motion, do we have a second? Kevin seconds. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Unanimous. Number 13, makes adequate provisions for handle stormwater runoff and other drainage on the site. You've got Carlisle Brook in the backside, which is going to be your natural runoff, which it looks like you're doing this to prevent any intrusion upon that anyway. So
That's the idea.
I'll make a motion that
It's not applicable.
it's not applicable. Is that a second, Bill?
Yes, it is.
That's a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Unanimous. Number 14, provides for water supply which meets the demands for the proposed use and meets the needs for the fire protection purposes, which will be part of your well and everything.
It's not applicable.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Not applicable, unanimous. Number 15, makes adequate provision for the transportation, storage, and disposal of hazardous substances and materials as defined by state and federal law, the storage of chemicals, explosives, or hazardous items as defined by the National Fire Protection Association Code 704, Class 3 or 4 materials are not permitted. You are not planning on having any of those, especially since you're probably going to have a family and don't want the little ones playing around with that type of material.
Make a motion, it's not applicable.
I'll second. We got a motion and a second that it's not applicable. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, it is unanimous. Number 16, will not have an adverse impact on the significant scenic vistas or the significant wildlife habitat, which could be avoided by reasonably modification of the plan.
Not applicable.
We have a not applicable. Do we have a second not applicable? Kevin seconds a not applicable. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Do we have a motion that the application that has been submitted has met the questions, queries, inquiries, concerns of the board, and the application is complete?
I make the motion.
We got a motion that the application is complete. Do we have a second?
Second.
Cecile seconds. Do we have any discussion that the application is complete? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the application is complete?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Your application is complete. Thank you very much. Sorry to put you through all that, but we got to do.
Gotta somehow set the standard for anybody else trying to do it, I guess, right? So. Thank you for your for your time.
Thank you, good
you.
luck, and
Good
hope the
luck.
project comes out fantastic for you.
Mr. Chair,
Kevin's looking for you.
Kevin has.
the plan that we signed, I just want to make sure that it says final, not preliminary.
Approved by the planning board. 4/28/25. That says preliminary subdivision. Good catch, Kevin.
So was that after that update, that's a final amended subdivision plan for you guys to sign, is that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we'll just submit it and we'll get a call from Julie and
Yeah.
she'll say, can you come in and sign it? And we'll all sign it.
The registry won't accept a plan that says
Fair enough,
preliminary.
yeah, absolutely. I think he was probably waiting to see if you guys were requiring any sort of a change or whatnot to it, so.
You don't need so many copies either, just
Okay, just the final.
one for the registry and one for here, or
Perfect.
one for your records, right?
We need one for the file.
One for
Okay,
the file.
So two copies.
All right,
Two
I will have to do that this week. Thank you again.
You're very welcome. All right. What'd I do with them? I lose my mind. Brian Dancause, 1713 Alfred Road, map 7, lot 64.
They were not coming in tonight. They were still working on some finalization of the plans, and they were getting me the abutter labels. They were supposed to have them to me by Friday. The sidewalk is scheduled for Saturday, June 25th at 9 a.m. He will be here for the meeting on July 2nd.
Okay, so, yeah, we'll put them on for July 2nd. Planning board meeting.
And no, I did not do the agenda for July 2nd. I was not that efficient this time around.
That's all right. Carlisle Brooks Estates map 4, lot 22, final application stormwater received and final application reviewed.
Do we have the final application?
I believe there were some things that needed to be done. Just trying to. There wasn't much. Changed the lot lines, made it 4 instead.
Let me start off here. For the record, Eric Sorry from Old Century here on behalf of the applicant. The plan you have before in your packet was before the discussion of this plan that we talked about last time, which had the little finger going out to Walker Road.
Yep.
And there was a question about 2 lots off of Carlisle Brook triggering a requirement that the road be brought up to standard. In the intervening time, we've tweaked the plan again. So let me do a quick flip so you guys can see where we're going with this. 20 lots. Yeah, 20 lots.
Yeah.
We took away a lot. We're down to 4.
Oh.
So now we've got the same layout over here, which is 3 lots coming off of that little roadway there, the little private way.
Yep.
1 big lot in the corner. That's it. So it takes away the question of any access to Carlisle Brook. The plan has restrictions on where these lots can access the public way. This guy accesses Walker Road, these 3 off the new private way. Simple. So the stormwater management didn't change from what you have in your packet because everything is associated with the road.
Yep.
We obviously have test pits for all the lots. Septic should pass, shouldn't be an issue there. Pretty straightforward. If you guys are happy with this, we can submit this as the final application, and then we can go from there.
So there's a notation on that plan that that corner lot accesses from Walker Road.
That's correct.
And unfortunately, we've not been presented with that one yet.
No.
Correct.
No, I don't have any.
Okay,
No,
this is the one that Julie just gave me.
Yeah, this is, we
This
just
is
came up
different
with this
from
the other
this.
day, as a way to get past the Carlisle Brook issue.
Mhm.
The notes you are looking for are 25 and 26 at the bottom of the plan, which is probably not on the one you have. So, yeah,
That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
because It is on this one regarding the two lots.
okay.
Yeah, because 25 was lot 3 shall be accessed solely from Kennebunk Lane. Lot 4 and 5 shall be solely accessed from Walker Road, which is that little small tiny one. And you've taken that out, and now you're gonna have.
Yeah, now we've got 7+ acres on the corner.
There you go.
There you go.
Seven plus or 10?
7, this lot line right here.
Yeah.
Moved up by conveying to the abutter about 3 acres of land. So he made out like a bandit, and we lose a lot.
Okay, so that,
Yeah.
you're transferring to Dennis S. Bushy.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think it's a lot cleaner.
Okay, we got that. We've got this. Does the board have any comments before we start going into the subdivision regulation checklist? You know, this is 8 pages I gotta read.
I don't think we can do that yet.
Wait, well,
We don't have the plan.
submitted, because submitted by the applicant, received by the planning board, applicant request for a waiver, waiver by the planning board, and approved by the planning board. This is just step 1. Some of them we can go step 1, step 2, step 3.
But the site plan,
Yeah, the
origi-
plan itself would be the only thing that would change.
that
So
changes,
that
yeah.
that would be the condition of approval.
But isn't that a major piece? Preliminary approval against a site plan.
We've done the preliminary approval. We had the public hearing. They came back with a pre-approval modification, which was theoretically presented to the board, which would have been going from 6 to 5 lots. Now, for their preliminary, their final application, they're going from 5 to 4 lots. What they have to do is present the final survey with all the 4 lots clearly laid out, with all the setbacks and the sight lines. And was the sight line on that one that we were requesting, or?
The road itself, I believe, is in the packet. I'll tell you that right now. And then the driveway remains to be seen because that's going to be up to the landowner.
Right.
So that'll be a building permit issue. But I believe the site distance should be in here somewhere. Sheet number.
Was that?
C2.
C2.
Yep. So good site distance in both directions.
Yep.
For that private way, so that's covered.
It's just something we needed on
Oh, yeah,
for.
yep, absolutely.
Did you redo the stormwater calcs for the smaller road?
Absolutely. Yeah, and those were submitted with that. Yeah, it got a little bit smaller, obviously.
Yeah, we can go through the preliminary, 6:1 to 6:18. Then there's section 7, which is the final plan. And then, which is from 7.1.1 to 7.5.2. Then there's the standards, which are 811 all the way to the end of the line.
So 7.4 says on the final plan that the existing and final proposed lines of streets, ways, lots, easements, utilities, drainage, et cetera, have been met. So,
That'd be a subject to.
right. But
Yeah.
I'm saying we went over the original plan, it made changes, and that comes back. And as long as it's all approved, we should be good.
So go through the preliminary approval.
That's a motion. Do we have a second to go through the preliminary plan? Any discussion? All in favor?
What
Aye.
section
Who wants to
number-
speak to doing it?
what section number?
6.1. All right. Provide 9 copies of all maps and/or drawings or prints reproduced on paper, drawn to a scale of 1 inch equals not more than 100 feet. And that is the one we have here, and that is the one we have there. That has been submitted to the board. And the board has received it. Let's run through this really quick. The applicant has not Okay. The applicant has not requested a waiver. Waiver does not need to be granted. Do we have a motion that 6.1 criteria has been met by the planning board and is approved by the planning board? So we're going from all the way across, that it has been submitted, received by the planning board, no waivers requested, none received. That makes sense?
No ask for no waiver, right?
Right. So that's why I'm shooting all the way to the last column. Can you see that?
No,
So,
I'm good.
all right, so this is a condition that this is going to be, maps will be updated. Because what we have
Yeah,
is not,
the application will be finalized with that.
it'll be finalized with
Yep.
that. So this, we can approve this, but there's a
Right,
condition
because
that
there's
this
one
is
that-
going to be updated.
Where was it, Bill? You had it on
7.4.
Right, the final plan submission. So we'll go down through the preliminary.
Mhm.
We won't check off on the final because we'll need the new surveys.
Right.
But other than that, the preliminary plan, which is the one with the 6 lots, and then went to hypothetically 5, was presented.
Okay.
Sound good?
Mhm.
Nope.
He went through the preliminary checklist with his original preliminary application.
Yep.
Then he came.
I don't have all this checked off.
Yeah, we did that. You did it.
I was looking at my notes and I thought we might have, but
We
did
did.
we go through that checklist?
We
I
did.
don't think we did.
Yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm going, no, you guys don't need to do all this. We've done all
Thank you. If I don't
this.
have to go through that again, that's great. That's a lot of talking.
Please don't make me
Because I-
suffer through that again.
It's not in my folder because I
I'm sitting
usually
here
keep
going, how
that.
can I make this stop without jumping up and going, please
You can
stop?
make us stop if Just,
I just have to find it.
The only thing that was missing was that York County soil and erosion thing, who I reached out to again and received no response despite leaving multiple voicemail messages. So I don't know if they exist, if they're in business anymore. I don't know where that leaves us.
yeah, part of the issue is
They
we,
do exist.
She never called me back though. She doesn't like me apparently.
we sometimes get multiple copies. So yes, Julie, I do have it. This one,
All right. Thank you.
no, thank
So
you.
where are we on to
Because I
now?
know we
7?
have
So
it.
the
We've done the
preliminary's already been done?
The preliminary has
We
been
went through the
done.
whole Section preliminary 6.1 to 6.18.
Yep, and that was subject to
Yep,
the soils erosion and sediment control plan containing endorsements by the York County Soil and Water Conservation District and Maine Soil and Water Conservation Commission, which you were trying to get a hold of
And I've
and,
just been told that they don't exist at all. Like they're closed.
York County.
well, that's
Soil and
not,
Water
you gotta open them back
Conservation.
up to get the required.
Maine Soil and Water Conservation Commission does not exist.
They're gone for sure.
York County Soil and Water does, because our other subdivision has been in contact, and they have an application that they have been in contact with them. They are actually getting answers from them.
They like jelly donuts.
They just got an answer, actually, they're getting answers from them.
Well, I've tried repeatedly and I've
Yep.
gotten nowhere. In my opinion, the plan is so minuscule and very small in stature, and erosion control is not really a concern. We're not really disturbing a lot of land here.
Yep.
It's under an acre, it doesn't even qualify for anything at DEP. So it's,
It was
So-
30 acres or something.
well, it's over an acre. You need to do the notice of intent with DEP, then you go through stormwater permits. In this case, we're not even close.
So do we want to move on to the final plan and make the ones that are subject to?
But you can't, because we don't have the final plan.
We don't have the
and we
final
don't have the final application.
That's right.
See, stop, time out.
Can you,
You make a good chairman.
I think so. All in favor?
Right, we just need the updated plan.
You can't go through the questions until you get the final application and the plans.
So this is what we want to do. If you guys have any comments, any suggestions of any kind, speak now, forever hold your peace. We're going to roll it into this plan, get the final application of this young lady here along with the check, which is really what she's looking for. And then we'll be back at the next hearing, if you guys have room for us.
Did we have when did we have the public
For fire.
hearing?
We had a public,
May
We had a public hearing.
21st.
yes.
May 21st, okay.
I don't, if that is the only change from the submitted proposal, other than the, evasive soil and
Yeah,
sedimentation.
I'm going to try
plan.
one more time with them. If not, I will submit a waiver request.
Okay.
So. but-
There you go.
There we go.
And explain why you're asking for the waivers, because the committee is a unicorn and, all you're finding
I'm not a
is,
unicorn bait.
you're finding Loch Ness monsters, and that's it, just, That's something the board could agree upon?
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
I have no further changes,
Okay.
requirements, conditions.
Anybody else?
I like the new plan.
I knew you were going to say that.
All right, I think we're all set, and see you on
July 2nd.
July 2nd.
Okay,
Let's get this thing rolling and get you guys going and developing.
we would appreciate that. All right, well, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Have a good evening. That's why I sometimes get 2 or 3 of those things and I'm looking, where's my copy?
So what are we gonna do on the insurance? Entity that nobody can get a hold of.
Harper got a hold of them.
I'm going to keep trying.
Yeah,
Keep
is
trying.
there an address?
Yeah.
All right, thank you folks for coming. Good luck. Okay, that's it. Commercial development, not there, not there.
Anybody got a
So-
drive-by?
I don't know.
Are they a private agency or a state agency?
I don't know.
Well, if they're a state agency, we should be able to call somebody in the state and say, who is this?
Was it
Harper?
Deckard film, or was it the Brookview one?
It's the Harper subdivision, their engineer, Joe Martin.
Okay.
He's the one that I actually just got an answer from him today.
So we were just saying, they're located in Springvale. I
Yeah,
don't know if it's worth a drive-by or a knock on a door, you know?
yeah.
Um,
I'll talk to you.
Or if numbers have changed, or,
I know they've been in contact with them because every time I ask, he gives me an update.
Yeah, one of the other engineers we work with closely, he just told us that they're not things, so I don't know, maybe he's thinking of somebody else.
Yeah.
I know the other one, the main,
Yeah.
whatever, they're not in business anymore, so.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, can we help you with anything?
No, we're one of the abutters for the Cripple Creek, that subdivision.
Okay,
Oh,
No, so I figured I'd drive up, we drove up from Massachusetts.
just for that? Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, this is great, she's minoring in real estate now, and so.
Oh, you have my condolences.
Sign in sheet there?
No, I will, absolutely. Thank
So did
very
you have
much.
any concerns with it? with these?
No, I remember back when they originally, my parents are Deslets, so they're on the other side of the property that the land swap's gonna happen on.
Yeah.
And, but I remember speaking with them when they originally wanted to subdivide the property. And I know they were putting in a drain on the other side of Carlisle Brook, is it, the deeper end? Like a dry drain or something, or a dry hydrant.
Yeah, that would have been Morse that did that, correct?
I'm not sure. At the time, we had an attorney out here who doesn't work anymore, so now I have to find another. attorney. So we made the road trip up.
Oh,
Which, so it'll be going to her eventually someday, so.
Yeah.
She needs to learn all about it. This was wonderful.
It's a lot to learn about.
It is, yeah, it is. But you have your right-hand radio.
Oh.
yes.
I was ready to stand up.
If you notice, it's left, right, forward. Make it a loop.
Absolutely. All right, well, thank you all.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
interest and participation. You know, that was a drive to come up here.
Well, we made a stop at Kittery, so.
Oh, that's good. That's worth the trip.
There you go. All right, next, review the bylaws. Did everyone get the email that was sent out Tuesday?
Yes.
Yes.
Does anyone have any comments on that? I will comment on that.
I do too.
This board did not vote on March 5th. We hadn't even been presented with it. The only thing that had happened was I had received, in conjunction with other members of the town, the select board, that there was proposed bylaw changes. No comment, concern, questions stating that it should be brought to the planning board to look at. The second, it is per the Lyman zoning ordinance, the planning board is the one that writes reviews the bylaws, then submits them to the select board for review. And then if the select board has any comments, questions, concerns about the revisions proposed by the planning board, that they then present them to the planning board. We either make the revisions or justify the reasoning for our revisions. That was not done. So that is in direct conflict with the Lyman zoning ordinance. That has been, it is part of it, and I wish I could find the specific section that states it. But the bylaws are the authority of the planning board, in my opinion, per the Lyman zoning ordinance and per the Maine Municipal Association Planning Board Handbook.
I have a comment about that. If the planning board modifies their bylaws, they have to approve them, right? We've approved them.
Right, I believe that was
So
March
if the
2024.
select board
November 2024.
changes them, does it come back to the planning board for approval? Who gets the final approval? The changes were made without our,
Notification or
without
consent.
our input.
Right.
But I know they said that, we didn't notify them, but are we supposed to have a special meeting with them? Are we supposed to plan a meeting, or how does that work?
According
No
to
one
the
came.
ordinance, communications are supposed to come through the planning board secretary or also with the code enforcement assistant. That has traditionally been how we have gotten all communication, is through the code enforcement assistant.
Right, and Julie didn't get the
She never even got a
modifications
copy
either.
of the email.
I've never seen any of these changes.
You haven't seen them at all.
Nope.
So you've totally been bypassed.
She's in, yep. So the procedures in place were not followed. Another thing that was interesting is there was a little confusion in the verbiage of the bylaws. I can understand the confusion, but there was a section that they wanted to take out. That would be section 8.3. And we can go. Eight point three. Yeah. The current verbiage is new applicant when deemed complete and in accordance with the regulations by the code enforcement officer, the board may be placed on the next available agenda to determine by the board the subject to the board meeting public hearings. The request was remove text this confusing. There's no, oh, wrong one. Where's my. Yeah. Remove text. Town manager develops employee job description. See Lemon Zone Ordinance, section 835A, reference Lemon Zone Ordinance 835A. The CEO does not have the authority to determine whether the application is complete. This is to be addressed with the planning board on multiple occasions, and the board has been advised that the responsibilities falls within their purview, except for that falls under staff review under the Lemon Zoning Ordinance, which the staff review is the code enforcement officer, the electrical inspector, and the fire chief. In years past, because most of the things that would require a staff review were inconsequential and didn't require commentary by the electrical inspector or the fire chief, it was determined that the code enforcement officer was to take responsibility or take the lead on that unless it required the assistance of the fire chief and the electrical inspector. So that is why the verbiage was changed to code enforcement officer. In the Lemon Zoning Ordinance, we do have the statement that the applicant is to be done by the staff review and then presented to the board, which is what we've been kind of doing right now with the assistance of the code enforcement officer. So we have positions in place. The verbiage may need to be rechanged to staff review versus code enforcement officer, but the procedure is in the ordinance already. Doesn't need to be changed. There was a number of other things that, and I think I mentioned this last time, very important, key, critical. Article 1.2, the board is expected to review state and local regulations to become knowledgeable with the regulations and the board with policies and procedures. They want to cross out policies and procedures and put in bylaws as reviews, remove text policies, procedures developed by town manager and select board, which is fine, great, absolutely wonderful. I don't want to have to do policies and procedures. Removing that statement, we don't have to follow policies and procedures. We don't have to sign the handbook because it's a policy. Leave it in, maybe change the verbiage slightly. Does that make, I mean, this is a legal document.
Mhm.
I don't mind signing the employee handbook because here I'm responsible to learn it and to read it. If I take that out, I have to follow bylaws, but not policies and procedures. So, couple of things, great take out the whole, thing on 13B about the 6 degrees of separation. That
Oh, the family, the.
yeah,
the
Don Herman had
Yeah,
worked very hard and got that straight from the Maine Municipal Association,
right.
which is part of in the back. But that's I don't have an issue with that at all.
Right. It doesn't have to be in multiple places.
There was another one that came up. It was something so simple that it was removing the long-standing authority, responsibility of any board chair, any board president, any board leader, which was to call executive session or
A workshop.
a workshop, which if we were to adopt the bylaws, we could not be discussing this bylaws right now.
Right.
So how is the board supposed to review and amend the bylaws, which is in a workshop, which we're doing now, if we can't have a workshop?
And you can't, the other thing I think was in there also is appointing, like the chairman can appoint like a subcommittee. You could
Yep.
appoint a couple of people.
Article
On the
3,
board to do some
officers
research or
and their
something.
duties. The officers of the board shall consist of the chair, vice chair, secretary, the chair, the vice chair are all to be full members. 3.2, the chairman shall preside over all meetings and hearings of the board. The chair has the authority to appoint all committees and to call all work sessions and to preside over executive sessions. A perfect example of a committee would be if I wanted to set up a bylaws review committee and said, Cecile, you and Kevin are on the committee to dissect,
Right.
which we've kind of done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know Don Herman had done one, and I believe, I don't know if it was Joe Wagner or if
Probably
it
Joe.
was Dave, had spent months just going down and we sat, and every month we'd pick it apart. That's a committee. What board does not have the authority to create a committee to go into a specific area of research? Things like that. 3.4, the secretary is responsible to coordinate all minutes and records of the board notices, meetings, and hearing and correspondence of the board. The comment, not short, coordinate means should indicate the secretary is responsible for completing minutes, records, etc. for clarification.
Right. The secretary now is becoming the admin. They're collapsing the administration into the secretarial position. You have no access to any files, emails, or whatever. But it's your responsibility to keep all of that information intact. So where do you keep it? On your own personal computer?
Can't do that.
You can't do that. And I don't think that's the position on the planning board, to be the admin person.
No.
That, I don't know. Do other planning boards have that?
Most of what is here that we have almost comes verbatim from the Maine Municipal Association Planning Board
Bylaws that we have, yeah.
Yeah,
The ones that,
all 497 pages of it.
Oh, previously, they used to hire a secretary to do the minutes. And
Right,
now-
there was your wife.
Well, at one point, yeah.
And she
But I
did
mean,
it.
now, but it looks like they're just trying to get away from that.
but who does it? I mean, Julie is doing a lot of admin thing, but she's
Right.
overwhelmed. But
Mm-hmm.
we always had someone that would sit in on the meeting, take notes and draft up the minutes.
Oh, you mean like Article 5, Planning Board Administration? The planning board clerk provides administration support to the board and in coordination with the secretary is responsible for all minutes and records of the board, notices of meetings and hearings and correspondence of the board. So without a clerk who got the post correspondence that stated that there wanted to be changes to the bylaws, we don't get it.
That's right. Yes, the changes to the bylaws didn't come to Julie, who's sort
Ad
of,
hoc.
I mean, doing admin for us at the, you're not a full-time, I mean, a committed admin, but you do most of it.
Yeah.
But you never got the bylaw changes.
Never.
And they never went to our agenda packet, which we have no control of. When we post
Well,
the agenda packet with all the papers, you have to do that.
technically, I'm responsible for setting the agenda, which I work in conjunction and closely with Julie and the rest of the board that says, let's do this. All I got for notification on the proposed changes to the bylaws was an email stating, this is going to the select board. Not, can you please put this on the agenda for the planning board to review and make comments on? Nothing. So I was waiting for them to go, hey, let's have a workshop with the planning board to discuss this.
Right.
Nope.
Or put us on the agenda for one of their select board meetings. We could have,
It would have taken over a large portion because of
so much of it. Yeah.
the substantive.
All right. I guess a workshop would have worked better
Right.
with the combined. boards, yeah.
A combined workshop for us going. The reason this is in here is such. And sadly, it didn't transfer here because my sticky notes I'm not tech savvy. I'll put a Post-it note for a comment, refer to MMA board, page, whatever, and I go to print it and it disappears. I'm like, how do I get my sticky note to stay?
But part of the issue is because we're not on their system. We're all using our personal access. So some of us are on different versions of Microsoft. Some of us don't even have Microsoft
Maybe
Office.
the thing to do is to put together a list of the points of conjecture to be brought up at a meeting with you and the town manager and look at it.
I think
And again, that can be an adversarial meeting or it can be constructive, depending on the attitude. So, there's two ways to go at it. And I mean, there's another portion of it that they talk about, they mentioned there about the opening statement and the fact that it's the responsibility of the applicant to show that they meet the criteria. And I've been to the seminars with Maine MMA where they said that should be said, and I kind of agree with it, but I feel that that opening statement is very disjointed. It's fact, 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 and it's kind of harsh. And I think, just my personal opinion, I think that should be on the application. They should read that one of the first things.
it
It's your
is
Then why are we saying it in the meeting?
because we're making it public and that is why, if you've noticed, it is incumbent upon the applicant.
Well,
It's the same thing.
I hear it from MMA, I know what they say, I agree, but I think the opening statement should be something that rolls very smooth and cohesive. And it's not, it's very segmented pieces and it's harsh. So I think it can be reworked, but to me, even when MMA said at the meeting that this is what we think you should say, it's like, well, that's kind of harsh.
Well, here,
You know?
this is straight, I printed off a couple pages. This is just 2 pages from the Maine Municipal Association. Make a decision. Checklist for reviewing evidence. E, the applicant has met his or her burden of proof. Basis for the board's decision. General rule, once the board has determined the scope of its authority, the applicant's burden of proof. Then it goes on, its decision must be based solely on whether he or the applicant has met his or her burden of proof. So it's
Put it on the application, they're gonna
It's-
sign the application, what more has to be said? I'm just saying, it just
Yeah.
seems harsh. And I think we don't want to present a harsh look to the public. I think we have to be concise to the point, but we don't have to be harsh.
I get that, and then, again, if you notice, I made one word change, burden incumbent. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is a duty of the applicant to.
Yeah. But sometimes that's what it takes is one.
So,
word,
yeah,
you
and
know?
again, there's not,
But
but let's,
beyond that, I think make a list. We should go over the list and then either we can just send it as a document to the town administrator, town manager, or you can present it to the town manager.
well, that's why last meeting I'd asked for your recommendations. We haven't got that yet.
I submitted a list.
You did.
I wrote it up, I submitted it, you all got it,
I read
and
it.
Julie got it.
I read it.
I
And if you,
didn't get it.
and you can send that to the select board, because I did that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think, the salutation that you present to the people, I mean, to me, that's the least issue. I mean, they're changing things in the bylaws that I think we should have some say
Yeah.
as to why they're changing that. But you guys, it's up to you guys, because I have no say in it tonight.
I made a comment too about,
But so you can still submit my changes.
my comment was about they said that we shouldn't have people signing in, but part of our notice of decision said it requires that you list how many people show up to the public hearing
Yes, and who?
and who.
And who?
And, if we don't know who they are and you're physically counting people, that's just one more thing that somebody's got to keep
That's a
track
good
of.
item to be on the list.
Right,
It is.
I mean, and it's on our checklist for the notice of decision.
Right.
It
So
is.
to
and
remove that. And we're
Last-
not forcing people, we ask them to.
Right.
If they don't do it, then they don't do it, but we're not forcing them.
well, last week, did not we not sign in to vote?
Yeah, all right, you check that checked off, yeah.
I'm here.
And I think it's fair in that if they come to the public hearing and they have an objection or, something to contribute to the plan that's been submitted to the board, I think the public should know who's making that.
Right. I mean, we had,
And where they live. Are they abutters or are they just an outside?
right, we had two butters come up today,
Mhm.
and I'll guarantee that they signed in.
Mhm.
So if there's any question that comes up later on, they can voice their opinion.
Right,
They signed in. They got their right to complain card.
also proves that there was a public hearing.
Exactly.
And I tell you, if you don't mind, could you please sign in?
Right.
Right.
If you don't mind.
And very important too is the spelling of their names, because the audio is not good when you're listening on YouTube. And even if you're at the meeting, you don't always understand the last name. And, I mean, really hard to get the spelling right of a lot. So at least if they're signing in,
And Kevin talks quietly.
Yes. I think we gotta get him one of those throat mics that just works out the reverberation. Anyway,
Anyway,
good luck.
anyway,
do we want to send a formal request to the select board to have a workshop to discuss questions, concerns, responsibility and authority?
I think we had the answer to that reply in this week's email, right?
don't look at me.
But that this had been passed. We had our-
It's- I'm going to give my interpretation. The revisions that were presented to them, they are an acknowledgement with. If you notice, part of what was being stated, planning board bylaws, March 25th, 2025, my signature is not on there. So we, therefore, the board, and did not vote to approve them.
Right, that's right. The approval is, the planning board approves it.
Right, we submit our proposal to the select board. Select board, which they have done a number of times in the past, which we typically start the review process in July and get it done in October, November. Because it takes us several months of back and forth, back and forth. I like this word, I don't like that word. We go through, we beat it to death, which is why they were approved in, I believe it was November 2024, was the last approval. Then it gets submitted to the board. Do they requesting any changes? Request change it? Oh, well, this is why we have this. Explain it to the board. Okay, then they say, yes, this is the first time in all the years that I see the select board's names and signatures on the bylaws. I think I went back to 2019 or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, we've never,
We've never, and it's been,
we've been on the board here since 2015,
Yep.
you and I. And it's always been the planning board that signs, approves and signs.
yep. And again, that is straight in the zoning ordinance and then it's straight from the main municipal. Because the complexity of what we deal with, we're the one that knows it best. We know where the faults lie. We know where it can be improved. Yes, there are some things in the proposed bylaws changes I wholeheartedly agree with. Some verbiage we don't need anymore. Some should be changed. I agree. But let us make the decision or present it to us and then go, yes. Don't go, this is what you're gonna do. Take it or leave it. Otherwise, why is the board here? Why do we have ordinances if they're not gonna be followed? These ordinances that we have, when there's any change, it's gotta be written, proposed, reviewed, checked, either by the planning board submits it, or at the request of the select board, or the ordinance review committee, or the public goes out and gets the signatures. Then it is presented to the public to approve. Once the public approves it, this is what we go by. Period. And there are places in the ordinances which do give us latitude. And we exercise one of them today with the subdivision. But to just say, I'm going to ignore the legal word of the ordinance, I don't think we can abide by that.
So we should probably, you should notify the select board and ask for a workshop
Can,
or a joint meeting or something.
would we want the workshop on a Wednesday with the planning board? Do we want it on a Monday with the select board? Do we want to try to sneak it in some other day, which is very tough to do?
I would request a meeting, a joint meeting, and see what's offered.
Mhm.
Say that you want to have a joint meeting to go over, you would like to openly discuss things
Right.
pleasantly,
Absolutely.
and just see where they come from, and you can express your situations too, and just find out what each side was thinking.
Hmm?
That's
Agreeable
where I
to,
would start.
hold out the, yeah, we should hold out the carrot.
Yes. Send an email to the town manager requesting a joint meeting of the select board to discuss
Do you think it would be worth having a meeting with the town manager first?
I think that's what you suggested, right?
Well, we gotta go through the town manager to get to the select board, but
I think the town manager made the changes
this,
and then the select board approved them.
the revisions are from the select board. The initiation, possibly, I don't know, is the town manager.
I think if you look at the way the charter is written, is that the interaction with the employees is through the town manager, not directly with the selectmen. The selectmen are actually prohibited from being involved directly with the employees.
Then they need to change the ordinances. Right?
Yep.
They need to change the ordinance. They can't, you know. And that's not gonna happen because they won't change the ordinances until the comprehensive plan is done and then,
The comprehensive plan, I believe, is in 2019. If you will look on one of my computer screens, it's up there.
but I guess the town manager's the one that would arrange a meeting or whatever.
What we gotta do is look at the charter and comprehensive plan and look at the order of precedence. And the order of precedence dictates where the chain falls.
But I would start with request a meeting. So you would like to discuss it with them,
Yes,
start there.
I agree. That being said,
That being said,
I'm getting tired of talking. And you're tired of listening to me.
I didn't say that, did I?
I'm saying it, I'm tired of it. My ego may be big, but it's not that big. Wendy's like, shut up, nurse. Set the meeting agenda for the next meeting, which is the July 2nd, which we're going to have Carlisle Brook. Correct?
Brian Dankos.
It's Brian, right? Not Ryan.
Ryan, R-Y-A-N.
No, Brian, B-R-I-A-N.
Oh, so it's spelled,
Oh,
Spelled,
is it Ryan? I thought it was, no, it's Brian.
it's Brian.
It's Brian.
No.
I just-
that's why it's
It's wrong on there.
1713 Alfred.
Yeah, it's wrong on there.
It also says a garage area, probably should be gravel.
Hmm?
Buildings with a garage area for vehicle storage. Didn't he want a gravel pad or something?
Yeah,
He
but
was
I
gonna
think
have garage
he's
areas for
calling it a
vehicle
garage
storage.
area where he's storing vehicles, not a physical building. He's just
Yeah, he was gonna
Okay.
have garage for the vehicles and their stuff and then an office.
Okay.
Something, it was something.
Yeah,
He's
perfect
doing
example that I
something.
can think of that is Wyndham Industrial Park off 302 in Wyndham.
Mm.
I think I built 4 of those buildings. You got your commercial space, you got your office space, your bathroom behind. One of them used to be a candle manufacturer. One of them used to make poker chips all over the world, you know, which most people don't know. Some of those poker chips had more security than the U.S. currency. Oh, yeah. All those different colors were each different type of clay, different texture, different radioactivity, and the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
When you have a $100,000 poker chip in your hand. Yeah. So, yeah, I think I built 3 or 4 of those buildings up there. It's a great place.
It wasn't, he started calling them garage aminiums and then he changed it to just commercial development.
Flex workspace, which is really what it is.
Yeah.
So we got that. FARP is complete.
That's all I got.
Let's see what I have that. maybe-
Harper said they got the MDEP permit thing is still in the loop, it's still being processed, but there's something about a plant out there
Oh, boy.
a world something.
Oh, no.
WORLD,
Whirl.
world something plant that was,
Wasn't he saying it was
Endangered?
pink lady slippers?
no, not pink lady slippers.
It's an endangered plant.
Forget what it was.
Mhm.
Oh, boy.
That's
Okay.
not good.
So,
And you laugh when I joke about a
frog.
indigenous tree salamander, tree
Yeah.
frog. It happens.
So he will send his HOA docs to be sent to the attorney to be reviewed.
Okay,
So that's the only thing holding out.
Yeah,
anything new on 1919 Alfred Road, Mr. Nest?
I haven't heard anything new from them.
Okay. That one is complete. Subdivision checklist, site plan mission statements. I think that's all I got. I like it. Oh, nothing from Aqua on,
Marquardt, she has changed what she's doing and has submitted building permits to Rebecca. And is not, what she has changed, she's reduced the size of the deck so that it fits within
the current envelope and all that other good
her
stuff.
envelope, so she will not be back.
Oh, okay.
So we're
That's
done
a
with
deal.
that.
So we can close out a 133 or 135 Shore Road.
Yes.
I like when I can hit it with a highlighter and go done, complete.
Done, yes. I was supposed to tell you that last meeting, but
That's all right. That's why, you know?
Yeah.
You're an assistant and you've been assistant. If I didn't do anything, why would you need me?
that's right.
She says, I don't need you anyway.
I do need you. I need you to sit there in front of the microphone and talk.
So my last thing of talking for tonight, hearing nothing else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
We have one more thing to do.
Minutes, we already discussed Harper Residential.
I need Rebecca to come in here. She's listening to me. Maybe I'll go get her.
Rebecca to the community room, please. Rebecca to the community room.
So we
Oh.
Mrs. Seal for her last meeting with us.
Oh, that's beautiful.
A carton, sorry for the flower petals everywhere. A
Oh.
card and there's beautiful flowers
Oh,
for you.
thank you so much.
For all your work for the town and the planning board. And
Oh.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You
Oh,
have
thank you. I'm
been
gonna miss you guys.
a
Well, you might see
godsend.
me in the audience once.
'Cause how many-
Just show up once in a while.
Yes.
You know,
Please come back to harass us.
Promise not to harass.
since my time as president, how many times do you see me looking over if you wait, you go,
Yes. Oh, you go, oh, I remember that.
yes, and then she goes, page 37, 119 on subsection D.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Oh,
No, thank you. You,
well, thank you. This is very, very nice. of
we
you to do
started at the
this.
same time and it has been 11 years. 2015.
2015, yeah, 10 years, actually. It would be 10 years in October.
I thought we started in,
October of 2015, that's what I have, my application.
oh, I don't know when my application went. But yeah, 10 and a half
Okay.
years we've sat through this.
It's been a ride, but it's been great, I've enjoyed it, actually. It's definitely a learning experience, so it's not only a contribution, but it's an education. And I got to meet more town people, employees and coworkers and whatever, applicants, people that I would never have met. You don't meet people if you're sitting at home doing nothing.
Mhm.
Well, now that you're retired, Stop sitting around. Go out, enjoy life.
Yeah, oh yeah, it doesn't,
Go
I'm not gonna be sitting
vacations.
around, yeah. Well,
Hey, if you just want to sit on your back porch, sipping coffee or maybe a margarita or two, I'm not gonna say anything. Do it.
well,
You
definitely,
know, what you want to do, enjoy life.
definitely.
Now you can make the motion.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Sadly, I'll suggest a motion to adjourn, which would mean the last meeting for our dear member, Cecile
Oh.
Dupree.
And a second?
If we don't adjourn, that means she can't leave.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. We're all
Uh-oh.
to sleep over.
Second.
Go ahead, make your last second.
You got a second right here.
I thought I moved it.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
she moved.
I made the motion. so-
Motion,
Tim,
second,
Tim second.
good.
any
Okay.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Baby down.
Thank you, Cecile.